straight into the roof of the net. Nice one. Straight down the middle. So a good performance from both teams.
Hello and welcome to Firstpost. I'm Rupha Ramani. Let's get started. Right, on the show today, a horde of rowdy Indian cricket fans caused chaos during one of the Indian men's team's net sessions in Adelaide. So much so that BCCI has now cancelled any further open net sessions for the remainder of the series. What happened to taking such an extreme step? What led to take such an extreme step? And what lies ahead for Team India? Meanwhile, Afghanistan cricketer Rashid Khan breaks his silence against the regressive Taliban regime finally. What did he say and what does this mean? What impact will this have on the system, and will more voices come out in support? This even as Afghanistan cricket continues to battle being a pariah. And we wrap up with football. Fresh controversies has struck Manchester United. Is the dressing room divided after the club was forced to scrap their LGBTQ plus jacket because one player refused to wear it owing to his Muslim faith? More on the show, but first, a look at the headlines on Sports 360. Starting with football, pressure continues to mount on Kylian Mbappe as he misses another penalty during Real Madrid's 2-1 loss to Athletic Club in La Liga. Following the defeat, Mbappe took the responsibility of the loss. Mbappe earlier missed a penalty during the 2-0 Champions League loss to Liverpool as well. Over in the Premier League, Manchester City ended their 7-match winless run after securing a 3-0 victory over Nottingham Forest. Bernardo Silva, Kevin De Bruyne and Jeremy Doku helped City get back to the top 4 of the points table. Moving to cricket, India eased past UAE by 10 wickets to register their second consecutive win in the Under-19 Asia Cup. Batting first, UAE were bowled out for 137 as Yudhajit Guha picked 3 for 15. In reply, Indian openers Vaibhav Suryavanshi and Ayush Matre both scored half-centuries to chase down the target. The Royal Albert Hall in London will transform into Temple of Sumo to host the Grand Sumo Tournament. More than 40 wrestlers will compete across 5 days in the coming year. London, of course, is hosting the competition for only the second time. The first was way back in 1991. This, of course, will also mark the first time in 20 years that the tournament has been taken outside Japan. And summing it up with news from tennis, Coco Gauff becomes the highest paid female athlete of 2024 with an earning of over $30 million in prize money and endorsements. The only non-tennis star in that top 5 is skier Eileen Gu at second with $22 million. 5-time Grand Slam winner Iga Swiatek holds third spot, followed by Zheng Qinwen at fourth and Arina Sabalenka rounding up the top 5. Now, India and cricket are pretty synonymous. It's an identity that is deep-rooted, a relationship that goes beyond any cricket stadium. The kind of fandom and adulation Indian cricketers enjoy and receive all over the world is unparalleled. But this is not that story, where I'll talk up the Indian cricket fans and how a cricket-crazy nation is passionate about its heroes and its cricketing history. No. The Indian men's cricket team in Adelaide witnessed the ugly side of it all, which of course has prompted the BCCI now to shut out any fan attendance during their team's net sessions here on. Just to remind you, the Border-Gavaskar Trophy is underway, as we know, and India plays Australia in the second test that begins in Adelaide tomorrow, Friday. It's a day and night affair, and the Indian team is fresh from its win in Perth. They have been in Adelaide prepping for that second test. Now, as always, there are net sessions that teams have in between matches, and the ones India were conducting was being kept open to public. For those who haven't been to any of this, yes, there's a reason. A lot of the Indian net sessions are cordoned off. The only people who are present at close quarters, barring of course the support staff and the management of the team, are the media personnel who are covering that series or tournament, and of course the broadcasters and the crew. There have been instances during T20 internationals, a few ODI series where fans have been allowed to watch the sessions but from a distance in a section that is blocked off in the stands and it's barricaded away from the cricketers. But it is very rare. Apparently, Cricket Australia had quite a few conversations with the BCCI to convince them to get fans in for select venues to watch the Indian net sessions. So what happened in Adelaide? More than 5,000 fans reportedly turned up to witness the Indian team practice at the stadium, as opposed to 70 odd who turned up to watch Australia. This was a golden chance, of course, to see some of these Indian cricketers and stars from up close. But what followed was pretty chaotic and rather shocking. What I've heard is that the crowd was raucous and rude. They kept jeering the Indian cricketers. One particular player in the Indian squad was body shamed by a section of the crowd that had gathered to watch them. There were continuous taunts and the cricketer was mocked for his weight. It gets even worse. Indian captain Rohit Sharma was continuously goaded to hit sixes in every delivery. Rishabh Pant was repeatedly asked to hit the big shots. The batters were taunted for missing or leaving deliveries. They were cajoled to take selfies even as they were practicing and in the nets, or even while they were training. Fandom was clearly not the word, it was menace. There was constant chatter and commentary on how badly they thought a player was batting in the nets, all within earshot and meant to be heard. The players are miffed and the BCCI has taken strong action. There was supposed to be another fan day lined up in Sydney, the venue for the last test of the series, and that has been called off, cancelled. There will be no such session on the rest of the tour, and Australia anyway hasn't been a very pleasant experience for many Indian cricketers as far as the hostility from crowds gathered is concerned. As much as they've applauded India's achievements over the years, many cricketers have constantly been targeted, quite regularly too. It happened in the last series where Jasprit Bumrah and Mohammad Siraj were subjected to racist taunts during the test match. But this behaviour in Adelaide is rather appalling, and all India wants to do is stay focused on what lies ahead and stay in a very positive, clear zone. Captain Rohit Sharma, who is one of the most experienced hands in that dressing room, believes that the key to India's success in the series lies in the hands of youngsters in the side who have shown that they can be fearless and who can combat anything, whether it's taunts and jeers from crowds and fans gathered or a fiery opposition come Friday.
Today's generation of boys, they're very fearless and don't travel with a lot of baggage, not suitcases. But in general, the pressure. Jaiswal, Gill and Pant, they're a very different generation of cricketers. Their minds have just one thing. How can we win the match for our team? If your first focus is on making the team win, then automatically it's reflected in their big scores.
Because remember where India was just some weeks ago, from not having a chance to even qualify for the World Test Championship final before the start of this series against Australia. India is now looking at that being a distinct possibility. In fact, an incident at the New Zealand versus England game has also helped in India's chances. The penalties that New Zealand and England were awarded for slow over rate means the points table looks somewhat like this now, with India, of course, leading that right at the top. In fact, this was not the scenario till some time back, but that's quite a packed contest all the way, and there are chances for any of that top four to go through. Of course, New Zealand would be a little miffed because they were in a higher position till the demerit points were awarded. England also coming down to 6th position, but it's quite a tight race for that World Championship final slot. But one thing is certain, the WTC ambitions of both England and New Zealand has in fact taken a hit. England captain Ben Stokes has been livid, especially with the ICC regarding this decision, and has questioned the fairness of the system itself.
The most frustrating thing from both teams' points of view is that the game finished early. There was a result. It's always an issue depending on where you are in the world. There's never an overrate issue in Asia. From a player's point of view, and I'm not the only one who shares this opinion, we would like to have a lot more communication with the ICC around this.
But what this means is that every match here on is game on, because there are quite a few contenders vying for those top 2 spots at the World Test Championship final, and none of the top teams can really afford to have any single slip up. We'll of course keep you in the loop as the race for the mace heats up right here. Now, Afghanistan cricket has finally woken up from its slumber, or should I say Afghanistan cricketers who seem to have found their voices finally. Voices to stand up to the many issues that continues to plague Afghanistan. Rashid Khan and Mohammad Nabi seem to have woken up from hibernation. Now, Rashid Khan is one of the biggest, if not the biggest, sports star the country has produced. Anything he says carries weight. After staying silent for months now over women's rights being curtailed by the Taliban regime, the 2 cricketers have broken their silence over the matter. Mohammad Nabi and Rashid Khan voiced their frustration after Taliban banned medical education for women in their country. You see, this was the only advanced stream remaining that women were allowed to study, and when that too was brought to a halt, Rashid Khan could not stay quiet, followed by an equally stern reaction from his teammate in the Afghanistan cricket team and former captain Mohammad Nabi. Now, ever since Taliban took control in 2021, it has been one drastic move after another that has kept this regime has kept introducing. The Afghan women have been banned from all forms of public life. They've been restricted from going to the gym even, or indulge in something as basic as speaking in public. And the world has reacted. In fact, the latest ban too saw a huge backlash across all social media, across the internet. The Taliban's approach has met with extensive criticism in the past too, but no Afghan dared to question them until now. Rashid and Nabi finally breaching the silence is a massive step, because these are the same athletes who were silent right through when Taliban banned women's cricket, even stayed quiet when women were barred from participating in any sporting discipline. The country, of course, faced a lot of heat for this. Cricket Australia suspended 2 of their bilateral series, ODIs and T20 internationals in the past 1 year with Afghanistan. Of course, former ICC chair Craig Barclay calls for more extreme steps, terming Cricket Australia as hypocrites.
If you really want to make a political statement, don't play them in a World Cup. Sure, it might cost you a semi-final place, but principles are principles. It's not about having half a principle.
Now, Cricket Australia's view is different. An ICC event is not under their jurisdiction. They can control what is under theirs, like a bilateral series, and backed their stance.
People have different views, of course, but we're very comfortable with the position we've taken. There's all types of lines you can draw. We've drawn a line, we've taken a position, and we're proudly standing up where we think we should.
And of course, they've taken this a step further by announcing an exhibition match that is scheduled to take place next year. An Afghanistan Women's 11, comprising of Afghani women cricketers residing in Australia, will take on Cricket Without Borders 11, an initiative to fulfill Afghanistan's women's cricketing ambitions. So we've watched a country like Australia stand up for women cricketers in Afghanistan and wondered why their male counterparts were not coming out. But with Rashid Khan and Mohammad Nabi finally speaking, there is some hope, because these are cricketers who can influence thoughts, influence a nation that has looked up to sporting success that their cricket team has been generating for some joy, because cricket as a sport has been one source of unity for this war-torn nation. Cricket has given Afghanistan a global platform too, to show what they can do. The country that made it to their very first semi-final of a T20 World Cup just this year is hopeful, in fact, of an even better showing when the ICC Champions Trophy takes place next year. Of course, stunning pictures there, and that was the trophy, the Champions Trophy, of course, touring Afghanistan. Just shows how far Afghanistan has come as a cricketing country. But of course, success that only one half of the population can really partake in. Sporting culture for Afghani women almost extinct. Rashid Khan and Mohammad Nabi are, of course, one of the most established faces in the country. So what does this mean? One, there is finally an acknowledgement of the fact that enough is enough. And maybe this latest ban was indeed the last straw for even the ones biding their time to speak out or hope to see a change. Two, it means there will be more, and more will be encouraged, of course, to speak up and generate a bit of momentum, because it takes a collective voice of opposition to change a system. Three, maybe this will also mean a concerted effort in bringing women back into the fold as far as sport is concerned. Fighting against a rigid system is tough. The proof is in how long these cricketers have in fact remained silent. And I see this as a start, the start of a domino effect that could either pause and run out of steam sooner than we wanted to, or that will gain more momentum and faith to bring upon a massive change. Which one will it be? The Premier League's Rainbow Laces campaign was aimed at creating awareness about equality and inclusivity, but seems like the campaign has created more controversies, sparking the age-old debate of religion versus personal beliefs. And while it started off with two captains initiating the debate of what takes importance, what takes precedence, faith in religion or the concept of equality, the storm has now rocked one of the biggest clubs in England, Manchester United. A particular player's religious reservations has not only led to one of Manchester United's LGBTQ plus awareness initiative being scrapped, but has also brought some sort of rift in the camp. That's what reports say. So what really happened? Take a look.
Ruben Amorim's appointment as Manchester United manager made many believe that the club would slowly rise through from the slump. But recent developments have derailed that hint of a surge, because there are talks of a divide in the Manchester United dressing room. And it's not the 2-0 loss against Arsenal that has caused a possible rift in the team, but the club scrapping an LGBTQ awareness initiative they themselves had instated. Manchester United had decided to wear a jacket supporting the LGBTQ community before their win over Everton in the Premier League. But the club was forced to abandon that plan just hours before the game because one of their players refused to take part because of his Muslim faith. While the club didn't name the player, prominent media outlets reported that it was Morocco national and defender Noussair Mazraoui. Mazraoui apparently informed his teammates he was not going to wear the jacket, that supporting this cause in this manner went against his religion. The team then decided that no player would wear it. So it wouldn't look odd seeing one player, reportedly Mazraoui, not sporting a universal cause on a public platform. Clearly, the club members didn't want this issue to snowball into anything more serious, given the controversies that this awareness campaign has already generated. Ipswich captain Sam Morsy refusing to wear a rainbow-coloured armband, and Crystal Palace captain Mark Gay scribbling "Jesus loves all" remarks on his armband has already sparked controversies and debates over religion taking precedence over inclusivity. And now, with the club as big as Manchester United, things have gotten more complicated. Because it's believed that not every member of the dressing room was happy with the decision to scrap wearing the jacket. But they only did it to put up a united front, considering the already rough phase Man U have undergone this year. The reason why many players are upset is because United's fan following isn't just restricted to England. The club has a fan base across the world. They have a bigger audience to appeal to. In the past, the club has worn pride-themed kits for their warm-ups. In the past 2 seasons, they've worn rainbow-coloured jackets during the Rainbow Laces campaign. So the club is known for its continued support of the LGBTQ community, which is the reason why they have a fan base named the Rainbow Devils, an LGBTQ fan army that's a sibling to the Red Devils, which is the reason why it wasn't just the players who were upset. The Rainbow Devils too were hurt by Manchester United's actions. And while United was right to stand by their player and support him, they didn't consider that their actions would hurt others. And it isn't just the LGBTQ fan base or the players, but it has also put their shirt sponsor Adidas in a very tricky spot. The same brand who's been at the center of a storm in the recent past. First, it was their alleged Nazi jersey of the German football team. Then it was featuring fashion model Bella Hadid, who has Palestinian roots, in their controversial Munich Olympics campaign. Hadid was part of a campaign for the SL72 shoe from Adidas, something that was inspired by the 1972 Munich Olympics, where 11 Israeli athletes were killed by Palestinian terrorists. So for Adidas, this LGBTQ initiative was a way to rebrand their image via supporting the community. Clearly, Manchester United has now put Adidas in a tough position, which is why the topics of inclusivity and religion have always been rather controversial. A reason why Manchester United is currently facing a lot of flack. Did they do the right thing by backing one person's faith? Were they right by excluding the majority in the quest to include one person's reservations? Well, that's certainly something to think about.
Right, time for Last Serve. Today we bring you a unique water sport called wing foiling. Watch Austrian teenager Thomas Acherer land world's first double backflip at the World Cup in Brazil. Take a look. That wraps up Firstpost here today. I'll see you again tomorrow with fresh perspectives from the world of sport. Till then, of course, take care. Bye-bye.